good Monday afternoon to you. This is the Ameren, Illinois Lunch Show with Claibs and Joe here on claibsonline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Mike Claiborne. And Claibs, we are powered each and every week here on this show by the folks at Ameren, Illinois, Gray Bar, and driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura. And for those that remember a few weeks ago when I went and did the pole climbing with the folks out at Ameren and got so far up on the pole there, climbing up and getting to heights unheard of. They have invited me back once again to watch the pros do it as they get ready for their Ameren, Illinois Pole Climbers Rodeo. And Claibs, it's practically in my backyard for the rodeo that they're doing here in a few weeks. They are going to practice on Wednesday. And I am going to head out and watch them do some of their practice runs on Wednesday and just be in absolute awe of how quick they get up and down that pole.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Any sort of those professional competitions on that level where you have trained professionals, whether it's doing this, firefighter challenges, things of that nature, the extra work those people put in is just something you come to appreciate. And if they put extra work into that, can you imagine what they do for their real job?
Yeah, so that'll be coming your way maybe by the end of this week on the website. If not next week, we will get that up and posted because Claibs this coming weekend, Thursday or Friday, I'm going to be making my way down to Augusta, Georgia to do my first ever half Ironman.
Have you been there before?
Weekend. I have never been to Augusta, Georgia before. No.
Nice little sleepy town. A lot of things go on there. Obviously, they play a lot of golf there. Well, they play golf there. I don't know if they say a lot of it, but it's a nice area.
Yeah, I don't know how close I will be to the golf course at any point. I don't think the swim portion of the half Ironman goes through Rays Creek at any point, so I'm not sure that
I'm tending to doubt that. Yeah,
I don't think I'll be on the grounds at all at Augusta National. But I will definitely drive by and see because it's kind of just you've been there obviously. I've just seen pictures and what they show on TV, but it's kind of just out in the middle of a town or a neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
right?
Right, exactly.
They don't, and it's different. They don't really allow the cameras to go overhead and kind of show any of the surroundings of the neighborhood. Yeah, so it's just kind of tucked away there in Augusta National. So I'll be there this weekend.
Now, how long will an event like that take?
My goal is to finish it in 6 hours.
See, that's why I can't do it. I don't have that kind of attention span.
Yeah, that's my goal is to do it in 6 hours. A few things will come into play with that. Getting there, I will be done in under 7 hours. I can pretty much guarantee I'll be done in under 7 hours. 6 hours is the goal.
What's the normal? What's the winning time?
A winning. Okay, now that's you're talking about guys that are just insane athletes that do that. So, for example, they have these throughout the world each and every week. So, for example, Claibs this past weekend they had one in Belgium. And the winner of it finished in 3 hours and 39 minutes.
Wow.
He swam 1.2 miles in 20 minutes. He biked 56 miles in 2 hours. And then he ran the half marathon in 1 hour and 11 minutes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I guess he probably is retired. He doesn't have a day job because it sounds like that's all he can do is train for this event.
I would imagine. Yeah, I don't know what you win, what the prize money is for something like that.
Not enough.
But I'm going to guess that helps him quite a bit. I'm going to guess he also probably has a few sponsorships. As I look too, I think I bought my tri-suit off Amazon for like $50. His looks like it's just littered with sponsors and everything on there. So
like a NASCAR racer.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm not to that level. And never will be to that
You're just doing it for recreation purposes.
I'm doing it to prove to myself that I could do it. That's
all
pretty
you need.
Much, what it is. And then probably an appointment with Dr. Rick some point next week to see what all needs to be put back together after that's
He just hand you some duct tape and say Nice seeing you.
Exactly. Hey, Claibs, a busy weekend of football this past. I want to start in the college level, and we will get to Mizzou's big win in a bit and their big upcoming weekend. But all eyes were on Colorado. We're on Boulder, Colorado this weekend. Deion Sanders has really just turned the entire college football world on its head for what he has been able to accomplish 3 weeks in. And I mean, right now, Colorado football is at the same level as, I mean, Duke basketball, Yankee baseball, Dallas Cowboys football. I mean, all the front running fans and
Notre Dame.
yeah, Notre Dame. I mean, all the front runners want to be Colorado Buffalo football fans right now.
Yeah, it comes with the territory. I mean, you see it with any sport. And I think the story behind it, because Deion's such a high-profile individual, that with him being seen so much, probably adds even more interest to it. And just the overall approach about a team who'd been desolate for a number of years, and now all of a sudden find themselves being nationally ranked. So it's a good story to it.
It is. But as it goes, I mean, is this good for college football right now?
Yeah, well, you mean as far as the success? Yeah.
I mean, just all the stars going out there for this. I mean, what is this going to lead to other? Is there anybody out there that can get to this level with Deion's? I mean, that a team can bring in and get
No,
to this level, or is it
no,
Deion's
because
personality is the only thing that can do this?
it's his personality and the accessibility that he has. And plus the people, I mean, who relates to Kirby Smart or Nick Saban or any other well-known coach? They don't utilize his platform in the same manner. So, there's a lot of different reasons to go into, but I think anytime you have people watching, I think it's got to be a good thing, shouldn't it? You there?
Lost you there for a second at the
Oh,
end.
okay.
So with they are 3-0 now on the season. They are going to continue to climb the ranks. As far as a football team goes, how good do you think they are from what you've seen?
Oh, they have some losses waiting for them on the schedule. I didn't put much into it. I thought that obviously if you only win one game last year, you're going to probably win more than that the following year. So I didn't really have any great expectations either way, because he was coming from nothing as far as the program is concerned.
Well, if anything, I give Deion Sanders full credit for bringing The Rock back to WWE TV this past weekend, too. I feel like that doesn't happen if College Game Day is not in Boulder and Raw or SmackDown just was in Denver at the same time. I feel like the worlds collided with the writer strike as well that allowed The Rock to come back to TV this past weekend. So I thank Deion Sanders for bringing that back into my life with that. So
okay,
that was hey, so Colorado, we mentioned this, they're ranked now. They're in the top 25. Mizzou with I go back. When's the last time they won a conference game of this magnitude or non-conference game of this magnitude? Can you think of when that would have been?
No. Is it the magnitude of winning or is it how they won? I think how they won probably had more to do with it, but I can't remember anything in recent memory. And I'm sure there is, but nothing jumps out at me.
I think beating a ranked team.
Well, let's hold on.
I know your thoughts on rankings. I get that.
You know what? I'm basing this on one thing: how well they played last year. That's how I rank teams, and maybe that's how. If you played well last year, that was probably one of the ingredients to that determination. But now with the portal, how do you know? So that's another subject for another day. But you know what? Let's just give them credit. Mizzou did a good job. I thought the defense was just a little sloppy, but overall, you know what? It's good for the program, and I think that's it. The reason why we see so much interest in college sports is the emotion that comes with it, because it's not the finished product, but they may have greater passion, and they're playing for the reason of either making money, because I don't think anybody plays for the love of the game anymore. I mean, you have to love it in the first place, but I think you love the rewards that come with it. So with all that said, the emotion is what keeps college sports going. You pick the sport, and people get off on that as well.
You saw once again Brady Cook as the quarterback for that game, 23 of 35, 356 yards, and really showed off. We talked a lot the last couple years about Luther Burden and how used or unused he's been in that offense. 7 catches for him, 114 yards, and go back to when they played Middle Tennessee last week, 8 catches, 117 yards. So they are doing a good job of using Luther Burden so far. Claibs, he is 2 yards away from surpassing his total from 2022.
Where would you like to start? You want to start with Brady Cook? Because you
Start
had a
with
mouthful.
start with the quarterback position there with Brady Cook, and just kind of going back and forth between any kind of quarterback controversy or any kind of quarterback competition there might be at Mizzou.
Well, I don't think Eli Drinkwitz is going to have competition. He named Brady Cook the guy early in the camp. I don't know. And my thing is, if you're Sam Horn, you should ask yourself, why am I here? Because I'm not getting a shot. Now, on the other side, that may say, well, Sam isn't good enough. Well, then if that's the case, why did you recruit him? So we can go back and forth on that. But I think with Brady Cook, his numbers were really good. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what fans want from their starting quarterback anymore in college, because he's not flashy with regard to, he didn't come out with a 5-star rating or anything like that. He doesn't physically look the part in the eyes of some. But you know what? He just goes out and he plays. He doesn't beat himself, or at least he hasn't done it very often. I know he can play with some injury. I mean, he can play hurt. So, I'm a little scratching my head on that. But, I think some people just want to have someone to dislike. And if you're a high-profile position player, you're it.
And 3 games in, no turnover so far for him either, which is all you can ask for as long as he keeps playing clean like that before they get into conference play. I at least have that 0 in the INT column, and going into those SEC games, a little bit more confidence.
It's interesting you bring this subject up about interceptions. I don't worry about the first one. I worry about when does the second one come. And that's the thing, because interceptions, and I'm almost inclined to think they need to maybe change the rule on what an interception is. When a guy hits, if he tips it, if his own player tips it or whatever, or fumbles, where it never hits the ground. I mean, you see a lot of those interceptions like that, the tip balls. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see them change. But with that said, how do you respond after you had that moment of failure as far as throwing an interception? So I'm always more concerned about the second one. That kind of lets you know what you had to work with.
Luther Burden, let's talk about him and his outburst so far, 3 games into this 2023 season. I think any threat, any worry of him wanting to transfer, I mean, 3 games in, he has to be really, really happy with how he's being used and the success of the passing game so far at Mizzou.
I would think I wouldn't worry about where he's going after this until the season's over with, because we don't know how the season's going to end. But, one of the things about him, putting him in the slot was a real plus, because you really can do some things all over the field. And we saw it over this past weekend. Things are going well. I just think the better it get, the more wins you get, the better you are. I think at some point, there's going to be that issue where NIL might come into play, and somebody may even make him an offer bigger than the one he has. And it's my understanding he might have the biggest one at Mizzou.
Yeah, but as I mentioned earlier, so last year, 12 games, 38 catches, 329 yards on the season. So far, 3 games into this year, 22 catches, 327 yards with the Tigers this year. They play at the Dome against Memphis on Saturday. I don't know if you saw Dave Matter, who's now in the
athletic department.
Athletic department there at Mizzou. He had tweeted out after the game. So after the field goal, after the thicker kicker, Harrison Mevis kicked the game-winning field goal against Kansas State on Saturday. From that moment, about 1,000 extra tickets. Is that what he said? 1,000 extra tickets were sold for the game at the Dome this weekend. So it should be a lot better crowd than I think what they were worried about 2 weeks ago down at the Dome for Saturday.
Well, they didn't have. I think they had less than 20,000 tickets sold going into this week. So obviously this is going to be a shot in the arm for them. But I don't know why you had that game. And follow me here. If you're going to have a game in St. Louis, don't you want to have it against somebody that we think maybe is legitimate football power, or a program that's had good tradition, compared to having Memphis in, who's probably better known for basketball than they are football?
Memphis has sent. I mean, they have a couple guys in the NFL.
Well, everybody has a couple guys in the NFL.
I know. So geographically, it's what, a 4-hour drive. So you hope that you're going to either get some alums in the area or some fans traveling. I think that's probably the more important thing out of anything, is just having somebody geographically that can come and play you there to make up to kind of make that a game and give St. Louis a football game, a college football game.
You gonna stay with that?
Yeah. Why?
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, you say it's a 4-hour ride. Well, why don't you go get somebody like Iowa then? It may be a little bit longer of a ride. I guarantee you this: they follow their football better than Memphis does.
I'm fine with I would have I would have any suggestion that you're going to make as far as an opponent. I'd be fine with it. I'm saying if they want to make an annual game at the Dome, geographically, that's, I think, what you're looking for.
I don't think you can do that, and here's why: you can't make it an annual game that's on your home schedule outside of Columbia. You can't do that every year because you're taking away a home date that they would have in Columbia. And
they're not making up the money ticket wise. And
well, there's a couple of things that go with that. No, that's the first thing, because your expenses are greater. The other thing is, you don't have the fan bases we talked about. You got to have people who travel. And like I said, Memphis's fans don't travel.
That's the thing. If you find you mentioned Iowa, that's fine. Iowa travels. They would come. I think that they would travel down for a game like that. If both programs are good, I think they travel down for that.
Even if they're not, you're going to have that loyal fan base. They're going to follow them anyway.
Yeah.
Because they've had some reasonable success within their conference. But yeah, I thought, and here's the other thing: you got to start marketing the game a little sooner. Get it involved and get it engaged early. But hey, listen, people who put it on, they know better. They do better than me. So I'm not sitting here to criticize them, but I'm certainly looking at it like, well, let's talk about this next time.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw they tried to do this with Indiana and Louisville. Indiana and Louisville are playing each other. I think it's this weekend. They were playing the game at Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis, and just this, it was supposed to be a 3-game series. They were supposed to play once at Lucas Oil, and then they were going to have a home and home. And I believe it was Indiana that just decided they paid $1 million fine and they canceled the game. They canceled the series. They're going to play this one and that's it, instead of to get out of it. I don't know. I don't know if Indiana has come out with that yet. I just know that they have they have canceled the series for these two teams after this year.
But they don't give a reason.
They don't, but that's another one. Both of those, again, Indiana, not the greatest of football. Louisville has their years every now and then. Fill it with that. If Louisville wants to play at a big stadium, there you go. Bring them in. Louisville and Mizzou. Just throwing another name out there for you.
Okay. That's I got no beef with that.
Yeah. Although I think the Papa John Stadium in Louisville might hold more than the Dome does.
Well, what else you got?
Outside of college football, I got nothing else. So we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll move on to the NFL. And the week that was, 2 games tonight in NFL action, a doubleheader of sorts. They're kind of right on top of each other, I guess, for Monday Night Football. And we will talk about that in just a bit. This is the Ameren, Illinois Lunch Show, powered by Ameren, powered by Gray Bar, and driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura, here on ClaibsOnline.com.
So what made you get involved in this program? I mean, you had multiple options, I'm sure, but what made you think that this is something you wanted to do?
Well, I wasn't quite sure what kind of career path I wanted to take at the time, and I heard about the Painters Union and all the great things about it. Basically, they put you through this apprenticeship. It's a 4-year apprenticeship, and they teach you everything you need to know about the trade. So it was pretty hard for me to pass up once I heard that.
Well, I think mostly it was just knowing that, they're here to protect you, the union is, and knowing that I was going to be able to take my time to learn. It wasn't going to be one of those things where they're forced to, day one, jump right into it. And I think once I figured that out, I mean, I love the opportunity to grow, and I think that that's the best thing for a job.
Here, it's the Ameren, Illinois Lunch Show with Claibs and Joe, powered by Ameren, powered by Gray Bar, driven by Munganass St. Louis Acura, also Munganass Burkhardt Alton Toyota. We were out at Munganass Burkhardt Alton Toyota last Monday doing the show out there. Saw some of the brand new Toyota Crowns that they are now selling out there in Alton, Illinois. There on the showroom floor. Already had sold sides on them. Those brand new cars they are bringing in to Munganass right off the line. They are going quick. So if you are wanting a brand new car from the folks at Munganass Burkhardt Alton Toyota, our recommendation is get out there and talk to them before they get them in, and make sure that you are the first ones they call when they are on the trucks on their way to 850 Home Rams Parkway. But Claibs, as you and I both saw, that lot is full with all kinds of pre-owned cars as well, and all kinds of makes and models just outside of just Toyota brands.
Yeah, I think it was over 300.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of cars out there. And obviously, if they're going to take one of those cars on that's pre-owned, they've made some quality inspections and adjustments to it where you're going to like it and like it at a pretty good price.
Yep. And then after you're done there at Munganass Burkhardt Alton Toyota, you could stop off at Fast Eddie's Bon Air there in Alton, Illinois, too, before you cross the bridge and head back over to Missouri.
Yeah, you can stop over and hang out and where the beer is cold, the coldest beer, peeling these shrimp. That's one of my personal favorites. Fat Eddie Burger. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's tied for first when it comes to fun over there, because you have the good food and you have good entertainment and all the other things that come with it. And you'd be amazed that you can go over there at lunchtime and you'll see a lot of seniors who have their meetings there and just catching up. So it's really a staple of Alton, Illinois, but it's easy to get to from anywhere. Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
And they'll have the NFL games on there each and every weekend, too. Claibs, we are 2 weeks in, 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. You have Panthers and Saints and Browns and Steelers starting an hour apart from each other tonight for Monday Night Football. But 2 weeks in.
Do we know why that is?
I know that they were trying to do a lot more double headers this year, and I think maybe I would guess if their hope is that both games can't be a blowout. That if they do 2 games, there's nothing on those games that either one of those games that you're going to.
Why are you playing them an hour apart? I mean,
that you should. I mean, you need to have one East Coast, one West Coast. Like that's the mistake.
Yeah, I agree. So again,
I don't understand that.
Something else I don't know. So
I know. Yeah, I know they're doing it a few times this year, but Claibs, we're week 2. We've most of the teams have played 2 games this season already. Who's the best team that you've seen so far?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they do some things well on both sides of the ball. Obviously, McCaffrey's having a good year, but they have so many other options that they're really hard to defend. And their defense is more. They should get more credit for their defense than they do. So, yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
What about you?
San Francisco, with the weapons that they have and keep coming at you with, and somehow, I mean, they found a gem in Brock Purdy. He has looked really good in his second year. So whatever book has been out on him, they still haven't been able to figure it out.
It kind of makes you wonder why he slipped as far as he did in the draft.
I mean, we've seen it. You've seen it with Tom Brady. You saw it with Kurt Warner. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks before that have fallen really, really far.
But I'd love to see the scouting report on him, though.
Oh, yeah.
The final evaluation. I'd love to see that from, let's say, a half a dozen teams who right now could use a quarterback.
Yeah. Or, I mean, Patrick Mahomes was passed over by every team once.
Yeah, that's true.
Lamar Jackson was passed over. I mean, this is, they're away. I mean, Russell Wilson was taken in the 3rd round.
Yeah, but see, you also have to take into account when teams draft you, there's obviously a need. It depends on when they need you as far as the draft is concerned. I'm sorry, pecking order. Hey, we're looking for linebackers early. Okay,
Yep.
that means maybe they're not going to look for an offensive tackle or maybe a quarterback in this situation. So it really depends on the organization's need at the time, compared to the fact of thinking. I think anybody you have from the 4th round up, you should always expect him to be a starter on your football team.
Yeah.
Everybody else, it's kind of a roll of the dice.
Cowboys, they're 2-0 as well, and they're good. I know they have the weapons. I would have really liked to see how they would have been able to play against an Aaron Rodgers led Jets team, rather than they were.
So
I'm guessing
you're the quintessential sports fan, Cowboy fan. It's the same, really.
absolutely not.
And well, here's why: because as good as someone plays, we'll find reasons. And we just talked about Brady Cook. Brady Cook, numbers wise, he's having a great year, but that's the way people look at it. And I think in this Cowboy thing, they're playing well. It was really hard to dispute how well they're playing. And people will still look for reasons of, you really can't. I don't know. You're a Cowboy / fan.
But the thing is, they were so dominant over the Giants last week that they put themselves right there, top of the chart, top 3 in the NFL, I think, after week 1, with how dominant they were against the Giants last week. So what I'm saying is that I feel like they got a break with the Jets team that was probably scrambling this past week, kind of trying to overload Kyle Wilson with as much of the offense as he needed to learn or that he didn't learn in training camp, which for how little Aaron Rodgers or I shouldn't say how little he was there, because he was there more than he was ever at Packers camp, I feel like, the last few years. But I think that, Kyle Wilson wasn't ready to start week 2. Kyle Wilson didn't think he was going to start, or Zach Wilson wasn't going to start in the second week of the season.
You done?
I am done, yeah.
Okay. So now as we want to dissect the schedule, I mean, they all play it.
Yeah.
Don't think that there's going to be a tough game down the road that everybody thought was going to be an easy game. So, the season adds up in that manner where as Bill Parcells used to say, you finish where you're supposed to finish, and you're going to have games you steal, and you're going to have games you're not going to be good at. So that's the way I look at that. So
the Cowboys have the Cardinals. The Cowboys have the Cardinals next week. Are we allowed to?
Yeah, but yeah,
okay.
you can. But here's what I say to that. That's the schedule.
It is.
Okay, so I mean, it is what it is. So
it gets much harder. It gets much harder for them after that.
It may. We don't know. We don't know how good some of these teams are.
Okay, well, Patriots, 49ers, Chargers.
Did you see the Patriots yesterday? They got handed to them in their own backyard.
They didn't get it. It was 24-17. How'd they get it handed to them?
Because really, offensively, they were getting dominated for most of the game, and their offense didn't. Hey, everybody likes Mac Jones. He's a great story, but Mac Jones really doesn't get it done. Their offense doesn't get it done like they should. So that's the reason why I thought they got dominated.
How many more years, or how much more time are they going to give Mac Jones there to figure it out there in New England?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to maybe it's not Mac Jones, because if you look at their offense, they don't really have one. Okay, they brought in a receiver they thought was going to be a difference maker. They ended up having to cut him.
Who was that?
So big, tall, lanky kid, and I can't remember his name. They brought him in and realized he couldn't play. But my point being, they're not the New England Patriots people stay up awake at night trying to figure out how to beat. So I thought they were dominated.
Yeah. Also from around the NFL, Chiefs finally they win their first game of the season after falling in week 1 of the year. You have the Eagles. They played Thursday night. They win again, and I think kind of maybe forgotten a little bit because that game was on Thursday night. But they're 2-0 now on the year. Dolphins also moved to 2-0. I think if you're going to talk, 49ers, if they are 1A up there, I think that's kind of where some of the other teams that are falling in behind them in that next tier of the top teams in the NFL this season.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. Either one of those Monday night games tonight, as I mentioned, Saints, Panthers, Browns, Steelers. I know you're going to be down at the ballpark tonight. Either one of those have any interest to you on the screen while you're there for the Cardinal game?
I always love watching Cleveland and Pittsburgh play. I mean, they play well. Pittsburgh used to play a very physical style. I don't know about that right now, but I'm looking forward to that game. Either one. Bryce Young, you get a chance to see Bryce Young on national TV for the first time. So, yeah, both of those games would be attractive for me to watch at some point.
Also people were able to watch the games yesterday around town or around the country. DirecTV and Fox, they came to an agreement and put that back on the TV by week 2. I'm still shocked it took till week 2.
I wonder what they settled on.
Have we heard anything about what's between Spectrum and Disney from last week?
I have not. I haven't heard anything.
Do we ever hear the details of that?
I'm sure the insiders, the people inside the industry could tell you how much the final charge came down and when do the consumers feel that, because it's coming.
Yeah. I know Peacock is going up here in a few weeks or a few months. I know that the price of that is jumping up $2 and all the streaming services. I know we've talked about it before. As much as the cord, cutting the cords seemed to be the trend a few years ago, we're all back to paying with the same stuff that we were when we had
just paying a different person.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So 2 games tonight, as we mentioned, Saints, Panthers, Browns, Steelers to wrap up week 2 of the NFL season. And then Thursday night this week, it's Giants and 49ers out in San Francisco. So that's a chance to see the 49ers on.
If you think Dallas hung something on the Giants.
The Giants had their hands full with the Cardinals for 3 quarters yesterday before they finally figured it out too.
Hey, if Brock's ankle isn't any better, then they have real problems.
The line right now on that game, the 49ers are 10.5-point favorites right now. Yeah.
Again, once they announce what you call injury situation is, that's going to spike it even more.
Absolutely, and a short week as well. Hey, we're going to wrap things up with some baseball talk here in just a second. It is the Ameren, Illinois Lunch Show, powered by Ameren and Gray Bar, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura here on ClaibsOnline.com.
Let me get this straight. Gray Bar is a distributor?
Yep. For more than 150 years, we supported electrical and datacom projects all over the country.
So you can get me products wherever and whenever I need them?
Yep. Thanks to our expansive national logistics network.
For any industry?
Yep. From construction sites and industrial plants to schools, hospitals, and just about everything in between.
So you could say Gray Bar is much more than a distributor?
Yep, you could say that.
They really do it all.
Yep. When you need a hand powering, connecting, or maintaining your operations, join the thousands of professionals who rely on Gray Bar to help keep them up and running. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Back here, it's the Ameren, Illinois Lunch Show with Claibs and Joe, powered by Ameren, Illinois, powered by Gray Bar, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura. Claibs, later on this week, you will touch base with Howard Richards. Huddle up with Howard, talking all about the Mizzou win, the big Mizzou win over Kansas State, and previewing the game coming up this weekend at the Dome. Plenty of other football stuff for you guys to talk about. And you'll also catch up with Bob Nightingale, too, with Good Nightingale. MLB playoff races, about 2 weeks left in the season?
About 2 weeks to go. We'll be playing somewhere. Well, we won't be playing, but they'll be playing postseason somewhere this next 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Or the day after.
Where was he this past weekend?
Who?
Nightingale.
I think it was in Arizona because it was Cubs Arizona this weekend.
Right. Yeah. That was probably the biggest series of the weekend. And
no doubt
that beginning of the when the schedules came out and you looked at the beginning of the year, a lot of really good pennant races, and that third wild card team for the pundits that say it waters down the playoffs. It's, you know what, the good teams are going to make it. And at the end of it, the Phillies, last year they came in as that final wild card team and made it to the World Series. You know what? I would think that talent-wise, Phillies deserved to be in the World Series last year. They
Yeah.
This was one of those, they figured it out as they went along towards the end of the year. Here in St. Louis, though, it's going to kind of be a stumble to the finish line for the Cardinals, guaranteed to finish under 500 for the first time since 2007, as they lost their 82nd game of the weekend. But 3 more shots right now for Adam Wainwright to get to win number 200 of his career. He takes his first crack at it tonight against the Brewers at 6:45.
It should be an interesting night at the ballpark. I heard a lot of chatter recently about this game, and we'll know what this team is all about. Ali will put the A lineup out tonight. Okay, no, because Goldschmidt and Arenado said they do not want any off days for the rest of the year. But point being, this will show you tonight what this team is made of. Milwaukee. Obviously they're going to win the division, but for some reason they show just enough offense to make it interesting these days because their pitching has been stupendous. So yeah, this is going to have a different tone to it. This will be as close of a vibe as we've had when it's not postseason play.
Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brewers tonight, a guy that the Cardinals are more than familiar with. I mean, it seems like every series they go against the Brewers that they're facing him. It's shocking that he's only 27 years old because it feels like he's been pitching against the Cardinals for the last 10 years.
Well, but you think of Wandy Peralta as well. I think sometimes people think about that one also. So
is that where the confusion comes in with that?
I think for some to say they keep hearing Peralta.
That might be the case, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, he's on the mound tonight for the game. So what were the numbers like? What were the crowds like this weekend against the Phillies?
Surprisingly, pretty healthy. I would say we had 2 crowds announced of over 40. So I would say they were in the 33 to 35,000 range. Because you had some pretty good you had some good giveaways this weekend. You had the Ozzie Smith bobblehead. You had the Build-A-Bear toy yesterday. And I don't recall what we had on Friday night. So it was a pretty good promotion weekend also.
Friday night was the hockey sweater. It was hockey night.
That's right, yeah.
You guys had you guys did the post-game show with
Chris Kerber.
Yeah.
So you know what? I would say they probably averaged 38.
Yeah.
30, 33, 35 to 38, somewhere in there. Well, I'll even narrow it down between 36 and 38,000.
What do you expect it to be like tonight then?
I think you might get a similar number. The weather's good. I know school has a lot to do with it, but the game started earlier. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a healthy crowd there. And you know what? Here's the other thing. The Brewers fans travel a little bit better than what they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be a good crowd. It'll be a respectable crowd to see him hopefully get 200.
Claibs, I know you with some of the Friday nights, the Live at Lowe's shows that you guys do throughout the year, variety of guests all season long, from commentators to former players. Sometimes you get in, Cardinal related players. Sometimes you guys do players from the other the visiting team. When you got to talk hockey with Chris Kerber after the game, I'm going to guess that might have been your favorite Live at Lowe's that you guys have done this year.
You know what? As Tony La Russa was saying, I hate to pop out the Papa first, man. We've had some very entertaining shows, Ricky Horton and myself, with some really good guests, and I think they make the show. I think the other thing that makes the show, it's not too long. Sometimes you can sit there and kind of look at each other and say, so what else is going on? I mean, it's short, concise, 3 segments, and it's worked out so far.
Yeah, so you got to talk a little hockey with it. Did you get to catch up with John Kruk at all this weekend?
No, I saw him. We were passing each other because we talked about Charlie Manuel, who had a stroke, and I understand he's doing better. But I really didn't, I didn't really talk too much.
Did you see did you see the highlights of John Kruk calling Kyle Schwarber's home run this past weekend?
No, I didn't.
So I guess during the game, I don't know who the play-by-play guy is for Comcast Philadelphia for the Phillies games, but they were talking about John Kruk possibly going and visiting the Arch. Kruk said he had never been to the St. Louis Arch, had never gone up the St. Louis Arch, and Kyle Schwarber was at bat, and Kruk said, if Schwarber hits a home run here, I'll go visit the Arch tomorrow. And sure enough, that was the ball that Schwarber hit the line drive that just cleared the right field wall, and then Kruk kind of talked his way out of going to the Arch, said it didn't open early enough for him. He had to get there for the Sunday game. and I guess won't be making the trip to St. Louis next year because Philadelphia hosts WrestleMania the same time that the Phillies are going to be here in St. Louis. So might not be till 2025 that John Kruk gets to go visit the St. Louis Arch to make up for his called shots, which I know is disappointing for all, but it was fun to see his called shot this past weekend. By the way, as far as broadcasts go, Ian Eagle with a great call yesterday of Travis Kelce's touchdown. I don't know if you caught that either.
No, I didn't have a
Yesterday at the
chance to see
game.
it.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, who's reportedly dating Taylor Swift right now. I'm sure you've been all over the tabloids with that, Claibs, reading the rumors about that.
First thing I reach for.
Yeah. Travis Kelce caught a touchdown pass yesterday, and Ian Eagle said that Travis Kelce found a blank space in the end zone for his first touchdown of the season. So that's a reference to a Taylor Swift song, too. I
wonder how long it took for him to write that one up.
I'm going to guess he had about 3 or 4 options written down on his notepad, and that's the one he decided to go with.
Yeah, because it sounded scripted, if that's what he said.
What have you ever scripted a call in your career?
Not ever.
Never.
No.
Okay.
I don't write anything down. If you don't do it naturally, I mean, and granted, everybody does it different.
For a situation like that, if you're making a pun about something, it's fine. I feel like for that. If it's for a milestone marquee moment, yeah, I think you just let kind of the moment flow.
Yeah. But I answer to your question, no, I don't. It just comes from here. From here to here.
Are you on the call, or is Rick and John there all week this week?
John's back this week. He has some days off, and I filled in for him. But I'm done after Thursday, because they go on the road. So John and Ricky will have them for the rest of the way.
All right. Anything big planned this week for your final games of 2023?
No. Thankful that we got through them. Or we have gotten through them, and get ready for next year. A lot of things to look forward to next year.
Of all the years that you've broadcast baseball, I'm going to guess you quickly forget the 2023 season faster than any of the other ones.
I will forget some of it, and I won't forget how we got there, because I don't want to see that pattern again.
Meaning, so what do you mean exactly by that?
Just how how the roster came together. The WBC was a distraction to some. You had people who just didn't live up to the expectations that you'd hope for. So you want to hope you don't go down some of those paths again. And you got to find people who want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got to find people who really want to play this game. There are people who will put on a uniform and they think they're playing, but they're not.
Who so far, if you look at it, and I have a feeling I know what your answer is going to be, but if there is a competition right now for rotation spots for 2024, has anybody earned themselves a spot in that starting 5 yet for next season?
No, nobody.
That's what I figured you would say.
I mean, Miles Michaelis, as he made the point the other day, he said, I'm good every other year, so look for me next year. But if I had to depend on Miles Michaelis to be in the front end of my rotation, then I'm not going to be as good as I need to be.
Did you recognize him when you walked into the locker room on Saturday?
What? I saw him, and he's always doing something. He's as I've said before, he's the best dressed player we have on the team. So I wasn't surprised, because he's just trying to do something to change his luck. There's some guys who just do that.
Yeah. It took me a second to saw him up on the screen and kind of did a double take when I saw everything clean shaven. So, all right, hopefully Wainwright gets win number 200. And that's the big memory that we have coming out of this season, along with Jordan Walker and Mason Wynn making their debuts. But we will find out more about that next week when we talk again. Claibs, have a good rest of your Monday and the rest of your week here with the Cardinals 4-game series against the Brewers. Daily Cards Live coming your way later on this afternoon with a lot of other shows to fill up. By the way, we had so Andy and I did our show this past Thursday. We went out to Bootleg and Bob's and did it out at the patio out there. Rammer stopped by. We did Daily Cards together out there, and then Rammer stuck around for about a half an hour of the first half hour of Weekend Joe. And Rammer and I discovered that at one point in our career, I think we said 38 30 some years apart, we each have done play-by-play for Monmouth Scots football.
The Fighting Scots.
Yeah, in our careers. All the years that Rammer and I have worked together, we never knew that we both worked for the same radio station in Monmouth, Illinois at different points in our young careers. So that was quite the reveal. When
You just never know.
Right.
You never know.
We were just going back and forth naming radio stations, and he goes, yeah, 1330 WRAM. And I was like, I used to do the ag reports on that station when I was 22. Claibs, we will talk again soon. Have a good rest of your week. And for everybody else, if you missed any part of this show live, you can go back and listen to the podcast wherever you find your podcast. Just search Claibs Online. Until then, he is Mike Claiborne. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Lunch with Claibs and Joe, the Ameren, Illinois Lunch Show with Claibs and Joe, powered by Gray Bar, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura here on ClaibsOnline.com.
Munganess St. Louis Acura has a great selection of new and certified pre-owned Acuras. Get 3.9% financing for up to 36 months on all new Acura models, or get $1,000 in loyalty incentives on the 2023 TLX and RDX, and $750 in loyalty incentives on the 2024 Integra. Get financing as low as 1.99% for up to 36 months on certified pre-owned TLX and MDX models. Munganess St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.